Good morning, everyone. Welcome to another live interview here at Empire's Comics Vault. And we have something very special for you today. There's big things happening here in Sacramento. Most of you will know about this organization and the man behind it. We are talking with John Marcotte of Heroic Girls. So welcome to the show, John.
Yeah, welcome, Ben. Thank you for having me.
Yes, most definitely. I'm actually really excited about this. This has been an organization that we have got to see grow, starting from the ground up to become something that is really becoming something. So why don't you tell us just a little bit about what Heroic Girls is?
Sure. As you know, I'm a huge nerd. That's how I met you. I come in to buy my comics every week, and I had two daughters, and as they were growing up, they started picking up my love of superheroes. They liked watching the old Bruce Timm Justice League cartoon and Batman and all those type of things. And I started to notice that I thought superheroes were good for girls, that it was a good contrast to princess culture, which is what they're given a lot of the time. The heroes are more active. I thought there was benefits to superheroes for girls. So I started writing about that on Tumblr, where people go to express their feelings. And then I was picked up by a feminist website in New York, Women You Should Know. They liked what I was writing and asked me to write for them. So I wrote for them for a little bit. And then I became a Huffington Post blogger. The Huffington Post picked me up. And so, it just kind of stair-stepped up from me just writing like kind of a journal on Tumblr to the Huffington Post. And then I wrote for them for a very brief period of time before I realized they're never going to pay me. And then I decided that I was going to, kind of strike out on my own. So I bought the domain Heroic Girls, and I started putting pictures of the girls cosplaying and some of the essays I'd written. And from there, I did a TED Talk on why superheroes are good for girls. And then, we started a Facebook group, which just has grown over time. And we just passed, I think, 80,000 people are following us on Facebook right now. And so we started looking at it more as a way to talk about feminism and pop culture in general, not just my kids. And we've now formed a 501c3 nonprofit. We're a nonprofit organization dedicated to promoting gender equality through the use of pop culture and other media.
That is absolutely fantastic, God. And it has come so far. I know there are probably moments there where, this was your spare time. You were doing this on your spare time, where it was just absolutely taxing, but it paid off.
Yeah, it's paid off. I've always, been passionate for the work. It's just hard when you're trying to eat and things too on the side. The big dream is that we are organized as a nonprofit. The dream is that we manage to establish ourselves well enough that I can do this full time. We're not there yet, but we've made huge strides just in the past few months. So we're looking forward to the day when that might happen.
That's perfect. And you guys got a lot of notice early on, even because of the cosplay that the girls were so into. Did that help drive the people to the site?
Absolutely. It was the instigation of everything, really. They had because they liked the Justice League cartoon, they wanted to dress as superheroes, and that was one of the first essays. We went to the superhero or the Spirit Superstore and Target, and at the time, now it's different today, but we got to go back in time to like 5 or 6 years ago. We went looking for a girl superhero costume, and there was a Batgirl costume, and it was nothing but hot pink. And there was a Spider-Girl costume, which had a tutu and a fairy wand. It was like a wand with a Spider-Man head on the top of it. And the girls were like, well, that isn't what Wonder Woman's costume looks like. Those aren't the right colors. And why does Spider-Girl have a tutu? And, and there's no good answer for those things. So I wrote a thing about why does every girl's costume have to be cute? We started a campaign called More Than Cute, which was a hashtag, and it actually went viral. We were on the BBC with that, and Headline News, the cable channel, interviewed Stella and I live from WonderCon. That was basically the cosplay was the center of it all. We got lots of attention from creators. Kelly Sue DeConnick was a big booster because Stella makes an awesome Captain Marvel. Gail Simone retweeted them when they were the Birds of Prey. The cosplay was a huge part of the early genesis of the site, and really is what started me thinking about some of these issues.
In mentioning that, one of my favorite old videos that you guys did was the ones where you three were running around Toys R Us looking for toys that
Yeah.
for girl, or, superheroes, like toys for girls, and you couldn't find anything.
No, it was Target, and it
Okay.
wasn't us three because I don't appear on camera unless I have to, and you made me this time. But we videotaped them because the girls were big into Guardians of the Galaxy. They wanted a Gamora action figure, and they had made an action figure for every single character in that movie, including like just some of the grunts, but they didn't make a Gamora action figure. So we thought that was a good place to start, and we went to Target and we said, let's make a video about trying to find a Gamora action figure. So we went to Target and we looked for Gamora, couldn't find Gamora. And then I said, let's keep going. And because they had a Justice League set out. Where's Wonder Woman? Well, they didn't have Wonder Woman. And where's Black Widow? Because they had the Avengers out. They didn't make a Black Widow. They had them in the Legends line, the big $20 ones, but those aren't really the toys that are made for kids. Whenever something talks about how many points of articulation it has, that's not a toy for kids anymore. So we found one. Actually, there was one Wonder Woman action figure in the entire toy aisle at Toys R Us. It was the only female superhero, and it was part of a set where you bought the entire Justice League. It cost $50 to get it, so you had to buy 8 male heroes to get one Wonder Woman, and that was the only way you could get it at all. And again, it's weird to think that's just a few years ago. It was just 5 or 6 years ago. Things have radically changed since then. We've had Wonder Woman come out. We've had Captain Marvel come out. And a lot of these issues were brought up at the time. We were part of that. We actually talked to Disney about the fact that, hey, why can't we find any Gamora or Black Widow merchandise? And, they did better the next time. Every iteration, they're doing better. And now you can find some of those action figures. They're coming out with things like DC Superhero Girls, which are superheroes aimed right at girls, or Marvel Rising is Marvel's answer to that. And there's a Star Wars line of the Force Rising, the Force something. The Force is in it, but anyways, it's the Star Wars line of dolls that are all like Leia and Rey and all the female characters from Sabine, all the female characters from Star Wars. So they went from thinking of girls as an afterthought, if they thought of them at all, to directly marketing this type of material to girls because they realized that girls will buy it. Before they just assumed girls wouldn't be interested, and they never made it for them.
Nice. And didn't you actually get pulled in at one point to talk about this with Hero Girls?
Yeah, there are different companies that have requested anonymity. Well, they didn't want to be known, and there are different companies that have consulted with us and asked us to come and talk about how we think we should market to girls, what girls might be interested in, and we advocated very strongly that girls would be interested in this type of material, and I think DC Superhero Girls really kind of proved the market for this. When it came out, it's a line of action figure dolls that are the female superheroes in DC that are aimed at girls. They were only available at Target, and it wasn't because Target shelled out a bunch of money. It's because no one else wanted them. And within 1 year of them being released, they went from they weren't sure if anybody wanted it to being a $1 billion franchise. They made $1 billion selling DC Superhero Girls because there was nothing else. There was all this pent up demand. There were all sorts of girls and adult women that were just waiting for something like this. So once they knew there was money involved, all the companies really got on board with the quality. So
imagine that.
Yeah, it's hard to make them altruistic, but you can certainly dangle dollars in front of them and they'll do the right thing. So that kind of opened the floodgates where all of a sudden you saw all these other attempts and opportunities to market to girls and women.
And what's interesting about that is, from my perspective as a retailer, the vast majority of young adult to children readers for the comics here, they are young girls. Yeah, they're not the boy markets love the video games, the other stuff, but like especially here with DC Superhero Girls and such, it's all young girls who are picking this stuff up.
Yeah, it's girls in general at a young age, particularly, are more likely to read for pleasure than boys. It's more of a hobby that girls pick up. I don't think I think a lot of that is socialization, what boys are taught they're supposed to be like and what kind of activities that we think boys should be engaged in. I don't think that boys are inherently not readers, but for whatever reason, girls do it more often than boys do. And if they're given the opportunity, they will definitely latch onto this stuff. And the comic book market for girls is enormous. That was a lot of I guess, curmudgeons or maybe misogynists in an unfavorable light would tell you girls don't like comics. Comics aren't for girls, but they're buying more than boys are. It's just they're buying different stuff. I mean, if you look at who has sold more graphic novels than anybody on the planet over the past decade, it is not, it's not, Matt Fraction or Kelly Sue DeConnick or anybody. It's Raina Telgemeier and her series of novels, graphic novels for teenage girls. They're brilliant books, but they're not something that people who, read comics with people wearing their underwear on the outside and punching each other might have heard of if you don't have a little girl. But girls are devouring comic material. It's just that they sometimes didn't feel welcome in the traditional comics market, so they're getting it in different ways. They're going through Scholastic, they're going to regular bookstores. They weren't invited to the party, I guess, a few years ago by the major superhero comic companies, so they went and made their own party. They figured out how to get this stuff on their own.
Well, that's perfect. Speaking of graphic novels and young girls reading, Heroic Girls is launching their Heroic Academy.
Yeah.
Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, this is the first thing that we did after we became a 501c3 nonprofit. We applied for a grant from the city. They have money that they've dedicated to offsetting the effects of COVID. So they said, put a proposal out there to how you would help with society in general and the arts in particular to offset the effects of COVID-19. So our proposal was, we have all these kids that are stuck at home and they're not able to get a normal school experience and they're not able to socialize normally. So what if we did an online book club for kids? And it was graphic novel themed and it was focused on equality. So, half the books would feature male protagonists, half the books would feature female protagonists. We would try to get racial diversity in there. We would try to get, sexuality diversity, maybe have some LGBTQ plus content in there, just things to, broaden people's horizons. All the books would be, acclaimed and award winning. And the city, went for it. So we got a grant, a fairly sizable grant, to establish a graphic novel book club. We're buying the books for the kids because we're targeting, economically disadvantaged kids that couldn't normally afford. I mean, graphic novels can be kind of pricey. So we're giving them each 6 graphic novels. We're going to meet every couple weeks and talk about the graphic novels, go over them. And I have teachers that I've recruited to help me lead Zoom classes on this. And we got this whole program laid out. We're going to give them a reading is fun kit where they have a comics bag that says, "This is my comics bag" on the side, a little tote bag with the Heroic Girls logo. We're minimizing the girls part just slightly for this one because we are trying to attract both boys and girls. Because when you're talking about equality, it's not an issue that can be solved just by talking to girls and women. You have to include boys and men in the conversation because it doesn't matter how much girls and women want to be treated as equal. If the boys and men decide not to, it's not going to happen. So there are basically 2 reasons to read a story. One is because you see yourself on the page and you go, that can be me. And that's why it's important for girls to see themselves on the page. That's really important. They can see themselves as the hero of the story. But equally important, and something that doesn't get talked about as much, is seeing people that are not you on the page. When a boy can read a story where the girl is the protagonist, it allows them to empathize with girls in a way that we don't ask boys to empathize with girls very much at all. Most children's literature has male protagonists. It's very unusual, actually, to have female protagonists. So by kind of forcing it a little bit and just saying, hey, read some books that have female protagonists. We're hoping that if that idea spreads a little more, that boys at a young age will learn a little bit more on how to empathize with girls and how to socialize better with girls. And, it will have benefits for society further down the road. I mean, we think we have to start foundationally when they're kids and talk about it then, because by the time they're teenagers or something, it might be a little too late.
No, that's fair. Do you know any of the books that you're going to be including in this?
Yeah, I'm trying to think of all the ones. We're breaking into 4 reading groups. We're doing all the way from kindergarten all the way through high school. So we have things like El Defo. We're doing Miss Marvel, No Normal, the first Miss Marvel volume. We're doing, I think we're going to do the Hikatea by Greg Rucka and J.G. Jones. Is that right? J.G.
Yeah.
Jones? Yeah. We're trying to do a breadth of a diversity in the types of books. So everybody gets at least one superhero book or 2, but then we're reading things like March, about the Civil Rights March on Selma. And we're trying to find like regular dramas and things about day-to-day life too, to seed in there. So all of it's good, all of it's engaging, but it's not just superhero books, which I absolutely love. It's my favorite thing, as you can probably see on the shelf behind me. But we're trying to show that comics as a medium is capable of more than just superheroes. Not that there's anything wrong with superheroes, but that hey, you can do other things too. You don't have to just do superheroes. There are all these other genres that comics are capable of conveying and that are out there that people should take a look at.
That's great. Then how do people get involved in something like this?
Well, the best way would probably be just to, email me or message me on Facebook. Our Facebook group is really the kind of the heart of the organization. I wish it was the website, but with a full-time job and everything, it's hard for me to write content for the website as often as I should. But the Facebook group is an ongoing conversation. We post there every day, and everything that's going on in the world, in our world, gets posted to Facebook at some point. And yeah, so just message me on Facebook we're at Heroic Girls. If you go facebook.com/Heroic Girls, that's us. Or you can go to our website, which is heroicgirls.com, and find us that way, or email me at John@Heroic Girls. Any of those ways will work. We'd love to have more people involved. Our goal right now is to try to come up with more ways to have real world impact, not to just talk about things on the internet, but to figure out ways that we can go out and engage in the world and make the world a better place. That's the new goal.
That is amazing. Thrown out there by MDK1011 is the Amethyst. She says that's the first one that attracted her as a young girl.
Yeah, so the new Amethyst is quite good actually too.
Amy Reader, baby.
Yeah, Amy Reader. But we do have we're doing Moon Girl and Double Dinosaur. Speaking of Amy Reader, and what was the other one that I just thought of? We're doing Bone. I'm trying to think of, we have these lists. I've been slaving over these lists for like a week trying to, it's easy to say you want diversity, and then when you get down to it, you realize, boy, there just aren't a lot of comics that feature like people of color as the protagonists and things like that. It gets difficult to find. There are some, but when you're looking for a specific age category and you want it also to be acclaimed as being good, and have some sort of a basis to say this is why I picked it, it can get a little more difficult, which is kind of an indictment of the industry more than anything. Not that there aren't examples of it, but it's harder than you would think when you actually sit down and try to come up with these different diverse comics. To find one in every age category and stuff was more challenging than I thought it was going to be when I started.
Do you have Cleopatra in space on that list? Because you should.
I know we have some Ben Hatke. I'm not sure if we have Cleopatra. I think we have. I can't remember. I know we have some Ben Hatke on there. I don't think it's Cleopatra in space, but yeah, of course we have Ben Hatke. He's a great graphic novelist, and for kids, if you haven't read him and you have kids, you should, because he's wonderful.
He is. So, I mean, this is huge. This is great. You've come so far. You got the grant, and you spent so much time on this grant, rewrites, getting it perfect. And then when you guys got before the council, they literally were just like, yeah, let's do it.
We didn't know. This is the first grant. I thought of this as a learning experience. I thought we're going to write a grant and this will teach us how the process works. I didn't. You don't expect to hit the home run on your first time out. And we could watch by Zoom. It wasn't was the committee that recommended to city council what they should recommend. It's an arts commission. And so they were recommending all these grants. And the number one, we figured out we were asking for way too little money. There were people that were asking for like $250,000 and stuff like that. I'm sitting there going, I should have asked for a free comic for every child in the city. but I'm fine with it. I think we kept it within our means to accomplish. I'm glad with the size we picked. But they got to ours, and they were just really excited for it. They loved the idea, the whole idea of trying to promote gender and racial equality through media and talking to kids about these issues. And they just thought it was wonderful. Yeah, we were just nervous, and we were wondering what they were going to say because they had trashed a couple of the proposals. And then they had a person who was in charge of reading our grant who was going to present it to everyone else. They were the ones that had to kind of talk everyone through it. Everyone looked at all of them, but she was the one that was supposed to study ours. And she read it and said, "This one's my favorite." I went, "Oh my God." They were really excited and supportive. They've helped us through the entire process. And then when we went to city council, they rubber stamped us pretty quick. So we went through 3 stages of that, and before we got approved. And every stage, I'm like going, "Oh, the shoe's going to fall at some point. They're gonna say, 'Oh, you're too new,' or 'What are you doing with comic books? Why is this a thing?'" But never happened. Everybody was really on board and supportive. And we're just in hurry up mode because Ben, did you ever see the movie Brewster's Millions with what's his face, Richard Pryor? It was a movie. He inherits, his grandfather dies, and he inherits a bunch of money. And the deal is his grandfather wants to make sure that he doesn't spend it frivolously. So he has 2 options. Either he can have $30 million right now, and that's all he gets, or he can make a deal where he has to spend $30 million in 30 days and not have anything left at the end of it. And if he does that, he gets $300 million. Because of the deals of this grant and where it's coming from, the federal government, we have to spend all the money and get the program finished by the end of the year. And we haven't gotten the check yet. So we're in this. That's why we're in this hurry up mode. We're going to get the check, and then we're going to be talking immediately to you about helping us order some graphic novels from Diamond. And so we're in this insane hurry up period where we have to plan the program, execute it, hit the ground running. We barely have enough time to get everything in, but it's making us focus. I'll tell you that. We're on top of it. We're trying to pre-plan as much as possible. We've already identified schools we're going to be working with, and we've got them on board, and we're working on how we're going to get the books to the kids, and whether teachers can help us select kids that would be good for the program rather than just sticking a note on the bulletin board and hoping that the right kids apply. We told them, let's look for kids that either would get a lot out of this program because they're looking for more ways to challenge themselves and more opportunities to advance themselves academically, or reluctant readers, kids that have had a hard time getting into reading because graphic novels are so good at getting young kids or adults, for that matter, who are a little bit reluctant to read. It gets them started down the path of reading. And so those are the 2 groups that we're kind of focused on. We want to mix, because if we get too many of the reluctant readers, the book club will be a bunch of people staring at each other. But we think that having a mix of those 2 groups together in a fun format would be a way to help out both groups.
Okay, well, 2 things. Number one, with these Zoom meetings, is it going to be open, or is it just going to be for the people who are part of this program?
Right now, we're going to limit it to the people who are part of the program, only because we're at kind of max capacity for how many kids we think we can have on a Zoom call at one time. They will be available online afterwards, so you can look at them. So if you've read the book and want to hear the discussion, that's certainly possible. But if you want an open, graphic novel discussion, you can always come to our book club, or Empire Comics Vault has an online book club that they're doing right now. I know those are 2 great groups that will take all comers, and you could come in. We're reading Red Sonja, Queen of Plagues this month, because I love that book. It's the one that really sold me on Red Sonja in a way that I wasn't fully sold on before, because Gail Simone's just a wonderful writer. Yeah. So this is really just for the kids that are in the program, mainly because there's a limited bandwidth to how many kids we can have in a Zoom call or how many people we can have in a Zoom call and really service them well. We want to make sure we do right by the kids who have been selected for the program. But if you're looking for other opportunities, there are book clubs in town. I would suggest you either talk to Ben or talk to me or talk to both of us, because we're reading books every month.
Yep, most definitely. So MDK has another question. If you were to get more kids involved in this than you had the money for, is there a way for people to donate, like sponsor a kid?
Right now, the bottleneck wouldn't be money for the kids. It would be teachers and instructors that I feel are qualified and prepared to lead a conversation with a group of kids. That is, we're still scrambling to make sure we have enough coverage, because we have 4 reading groups and we're reading 6 books for each group. So we're running 24 Zoom meetings in the space of a few months. And we wanted to make sure that we're not just throwing any Tom, Dick, or Harry up there. It's somebody that has the tools, able to talk about graphic novels and to talk about how they the structure of the story, and or people who are teachers who are good with working with kids and getting the most out of them and instructing them. We're still trying to identify that. So if you're a teacher, please talk to me. And if you're a teacher that has interest in these type of topics, please talk to me, because that's one of the areas that we're still working on. We would, if you're really interested in the program, just message me afterwards. Find me on Facebook or something, and I will. I hadn't really considered this idea. I don't know that there'll be a place, but I can certainly, write your name down, and if I figure out a way to work you into the program, I can get you in there. Let's just put it like that.
That's perfect. And you said Facebook or through the website Heroic Girls is the best way to get a hold of you.
Yeah, Facebook's probably the best, because we post probably 5 times a day on Facebook, and I'm on and off there all day long, and it has Messenger. You can message me, and if I'm anywhere in the world, then my phone will beep and I'll see it immediately and I can respond. So Facebook works pretty well.
That is amazing. So yes, people, please check out the website, check out the Facebook. If you're interested in the program, contact John. Again, if you're a teacher, it looks like he's looking for that.
Yeah.
Congratulations on everything, John. This has been amazing watching this evolve, and I am really excited to see where you go with this in the future.
No, thank you so much, Ben. And I want to really extend my thanks to you. You've been a huge supporter of everything that we've done ever since we started. We were at the first women's mini-con, even though I am clearly not a woman, and we've done a couple of those, and we've enjoyed your support over the years as well.
Well, thank you, sir. I appreciate it. And I'm looking forward to many more years. And I know this program is going to be an amazing success. So everybody, please hit the Facebook like button, check out the website. And if you have any questions, contact John. As you said, he's always on. Oh, wait, what's one more? Oh, great conversation. Thank you.
Oh, we like that.
Yes, we do. We appreciate it. All right, everybody. I will see you in the shop, and I expect you all to go do what I just told you to. Thank you, John.
Bye, everybody.